And you're a radical. This is really important historic video. Now stay with me. I need to write a book. I need to write about 1,000 books. Look at the name on the building. So-called Mormon Christians. It's disgusting. Now why the water school business that I used to teach at, which we were Hamiltonians. We were the sister school with Wharton, Trump's school. We were #1 in the fucking United States testing. When I taught here as a student professor, when I graduated here, we were ethics. Now this is important. Now the Chinese woman who runs it, you can look it up, warned students and economic advisor to Dirty Herbie, supposedly Mormon Herbie, you know, the state of Utah, do not go see the Dalai Lama. Now stay with me. This is a historic day. This is really a historic day. Why in the hell didn't Trump admit it? Why didn't Trump do this before? I'll tell you why. Because he's afraid of his evangelical base, and he thought he could get elected just pandering to the evangelical base. And there are Muslim haters. Now stay with me. Your Chinese slave-made goods. What's the soup can all about, everybody asks me. Come on. It's a metaphor for overconsumption. Now stay with me. I graduated there. I taught their #1 school business, ethics, Hamiltonians, protectionists. Tariffs. So I knew a lot about these slaves camps in China, and I'm outraged because not just economically, morality. Here in the state of Utah, Dirty Governor Herbert tells us, he told me he wants to see the state of Utah. Now, let me back up. In the 90s, #1 via the testing in the United States, #1, when I graduated here, when I was student professor, #1, beat Wharton, beat Harvard every year. Now they're last. So they rolled in here in the late 90s and says, we want to develop this supply chain, and they shoved it down this school's throat via the military, which was a total lie. I knew it was a lie. Dr. Cooleywood had none of it. He's like, oh no. The #1 finance professor in the country barn. The last letter of recommendation he ever wrote, he wrote it to me. You know, and I never asked for it. It's in the school of in the library. I donated it. Listen, so we're like, hell no. I mean, just from a morality economics issue, we were totally against it. Clyde Cooley, we couldn't have an MBA program because there was a bullshit law that was written many years ago, Utah State, so they taught it here, blah, blah, blah. Being we're #9, the state of Utah gave us an MBA program in '99. I'm on Wall Street, got my plastic career, I'm going back and forth, blah, 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 blah. I was a derivative arbitrage specialist. I says, well, I'm coming home. I got to get that first MBA, '99. I walk into the class right there, and I was friends with Clyde. That's how I got my job. He was like, now, where's Clyde? Haven't you heard? Kyle Madsen. What do you mean, what haven't I heard? What? He just snapped in the class and started. He had mad cow in his brain. He died in November of '99, just like that, right as the MBA. They're panicking. You got to take over. I don't even have a fucking MBA. You know, how am I going to take over this? We'll give you the MBA. So I did it for Kyle Madsen. He died of cancer, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so Governor Herbert wants to develop this slave chain from China. I'm like, that's the most immoral. Now stay with me. This is historic. A lot of people don't realize that the Turkish Muslims, that's part of China. That's where you're pure 100% slavery. They grow the cotton there. They pick it. It's 100%. They're genociding those people. Now, when I was in Copenhagen a couple years back, I met some really great activists, and they taught me a lot about this. They says, not only this, if any woman becomes pregnant, they cut the baby out of her guts. For real. This is all very real shit. This is what's going on. And you're participating, biting this Chinese shit. I remember the day that they signed NAFTA right here. I remember I was here. Clyde Cooley says, write it off. America's over. The United States is done, he says. The United States is done. This is the worst thing that ever happened to me. We start importing slave goods. I mean, so these are... Here's the irony of this. Black Lives Matter. You think about it. It wasn't started by 3 black females. That's a lie. It was started by the Million Mass March in 2012 based on the death of Danielle Will. On this university, we were saved by Kevin Blanche. I started the Million Mass March, me and John Anthony in Boston, online, put it together. We were marching Black Lives Matter chanting on cop shootings on Danielle Willard then. I mean, it outrages me how they hijacked that movement. And here they are, Damian Lillard, who I know, I've talked to, You look at the... I'm at the tables in D.C., right where we used to march, whatever. You see the Black Lives Matters gear. It's made by these very said slaves that I'm talking about. I'm like, you're the children of antebellum slaves. By the way, Obama wasn't. So, listen, are you unconscious about that? Look at the tags all over your gear. It's outrageous. These are full one. This is this is as bad as the antebellum slaves, maybe worse. And you're participating. Obey, consume, obey. So Utah, I'm like, I thought you were Christians. And by the way, this is important. My family got here in 1822. I go way back, Mormon bloodlines, blah, blah. My grandfather ran the Mormon church welfare. See, they were socialist Mormons, blah. They would have never put up with this. They would have gone crazy about this. Joseph Smith originally, you know, those people, the fundamentalists, blah, blah, they'll sell you that Brigham Young stole the Mormon church. Fatma K. Brody, right on this campus. Read her book. No, my eyes, that's what she says. It was supposed to go to the hierarchy, the research PhD. You think Weber State blackballs serious PhDs? True activists, you know nothing about Fatma K. Brody. Mark Hoffman read her book. He forged the salamander ladder right there where I just walked out of in the Stewart Library. This is important. Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, said our Muslim brothers, our Muslim sisters, they are brothers and sisters. We are one and the same. You could see when he mosh podged, I call it the great eclectic religion. What is a religion? By definition, it's generational arrogance. It's always better or worse. This is as bad as it gets. So, but you're Muslim haters. You're shoppers, you know, obey, consume, covet thy neighbor's Walmart shit, bomb, murder, kill, guns. I mean, it's unbelievable. Up is down, black is white. I mean, Jesus, that long-haired freaking craftsman, you know, heal the afflicted, feed the poor, sounds like a freaking some kind of beatnik, freaking crazed radical socialist to me. The state of Utah, right here, we used to teach, was the last state to get rid of usury laws in the country. What's a usury law? Last one, based on morality. That's the maximum interest you can charge, was 6% above prime, right here, 1986. We were the last ones, based on morality. Now we have buy here payday joints that Mormons own. 538% interest. Some of them up to 800%. So immoral. So I mean, usury is the foundation of Christianity. You know, and I'm not that religious. I'm just calling out the hypocrisy. I mean, these hypocrites, these consumption crits. I mean, these American manufactured Jesus freaks. This is, look, I know I stayed in contact with that activist for years and years. They're genociding those people. They round them up. They put them in slave camps. They lasso them by the neck. If they get pregnant, they won't allow it. No sex is allowed. If a baby comes, they cut the baby out of the womb and kill it. This is your Chinese slave camps. And Trump comes out now and bans because of slavery today. Well, why didn't he do that before when he talked to him? Oh, his wife and his daughters, once you start wearing those Trump girl shoes. You can look it up. The most ethical school of business in the country. Number one. I taught at it. I graduated at it. It was the cream of the cream. I went to school with Mikado, who's the heir to the Japanese royal family. I went to school with him in there. I mean, the year I graduated, I think there was 14 of us. That's how tough it was to get through all ethics, all the time. It's a Chinese woman. They come in. R.C. Willey's was bought by Warren Buffett. He come in his slave-made camp where he makes his furniture. He bought the school. He says, we'll give you X amount of shares of Berkshire Hathaway. And they took it. And all the marquee professors have all died. I call it the Waters curse. So the Chinese woman that runs it now, which is disgusting, blackball me. Don't think about this. Now, you know the Dalai Lama dynamic right there where we're talking and what the Chinese think. She's on the Utah State Economic Advisory Committee. She warned students and they made international to not go see the Dalai Lama. Okay, so, and if you don't think this is all real, you know nothing. But America's unconscious about it. Where's the Mormon Church on this? Oh, he's rolling over in his grave, David. Okay, I knew him personally. Yeah, Fatma K. Brody, that's her uncle. I mean, I'm blown away what's happened here in 20 years. Just in 20 years. It's impossible. It's impossible. Sick. 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 They doubled their salaries. They scored. They only test 512. They tested 500 and something. What? What the fuck? From number one for... fucking disgrace. My Vaughn should be disgusted with himself. He's the only one left alive. It's pathetic. I spoke of Bruce's Wake Handley, football player. He's rolling over in his grave. They all are. Everybody's rolling over in their graves. They're fucking slave camps, and you're buying. Not me. Look what's on me. Look what's on me. Oh, hell no. Hell no. You're not sending me, my soul, to hell. I'm not participating. But you're unconscious about it. Read this article, and you tell me, and then do a little homework. Just Google around. Fucking. It's beyond evil. Black Lives Matter selling shirts made by these it's disgusting. These three women who stole it from Kevin Blanche fucking should get down on their hands and knees and beg God for forgiveness. What about Danielle Willard? You know, not me. They talk it. They profit from it. Not me. Not me. I'm like Jesus. Put me on a fucking cross. Radical activist. I'll be the foot washer. Stand firm.